Major Music.
Speeding, push the pedal down to the metal. You can't even find a letter to get on this level. Get everything your word, never ever settle. The life of a laid back type of back with another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. It's your host, Dee Dot. And if you notice that I have on the same outfit from the previous episode, that's because I shot back to back episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast. Just trying to knock out more episodes. It's the end of the year and gonna take a holiday break. So I'm gonna keep some of the episodes coming for the last couple of weeks. And we're actually going to have a Detroit-based artist by the name of Martel Smooth on tonight. And Martel Smooth is going to come on to talk about his latest release, The Point of No Return. I actually came across Martel Smooth on Threads, and we were actually supposed to link up a couple of weeks back, but I ended up upgrading my Mac and I had to wait on that to come in because I turned in my old Mac and all I had at that time was my iPad. And I don't like the way some things work when it comes to doing the podcast episodes on my iPad. So I didn't do any shows for a couple of weeks, but here I am back again. And if this is your first time tuning into the Major Music Lounge podcast, I like to talk to other music creators about their journey creating music. Maybe they came out with a recent project, as Martel Smooth has, or maybe they're a content creator. If they're a music producer, then maybe that creator also has experience in music publishing and come on and talk about their story in regards to that. And we've also had sound designers and music production app developers. If you're interested in getting on the Major Music Lounge podcast, hit me up on any one of my platforms at D._Major Music. That's going to be on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Or if you on Twitter, X, hit me up at D.MME. And then if you hang around for the entirety of this interview, please consider subscribing. I like to post music creator interviews on Fridays here on this channel. But as I said, we're going to take a short break for a couple of weeks in December, but the podcast will be back in January sometime. So stay tuned for that, and let's go ahead and get into the interview. Back with the Major Music Lounge podcast, joined by Detroit-based artist Martel Smooth. What's good, my brother?
What's up, D Dot? How you
Oh
living, man?
man, just trying to wrap up a couple of projects for the year's end, but keeping it going. And just like we kind of talked about birthday twins, we celebrated our birthdays on Thanksgiving, and this I meet a lot of people. In fact, there are so many people from my hometown that I know that had the same birthday, but to meet another brother here, and it's quite a few people, like I said, but definitely a pleasure to have you on a Major Music Lounge podcast, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you for the invite. I definitely appreciate it.
No problem at all. No problem, man. So one of the questions that I always ask the guests that come on a Major Music Lounge podcast, for all the listeners out there, tell us a little bit about your journey creating music. Like, when was it that you started to create music?
Man, I started, I want to say about over a decade ago. It all started out as just being around the house writing poetry for my mom. Back then I called myself Shorty Smooth. And I would write her poetry, you know what I mean? And then it went from there to just taking a group of my friends in the neighborhood and creating a rap group. That was at about 16. The poetry started at about 10, and then the rap group started at about 16. Then that stopped. And then about 18, I started another rap group. That didn't work. And then that's when I just went solo and been on this mission ever since, man.
Man, hey, sometimes that be the way it is, starting out in a group and then going on and finding your own path as a creator. I could definitely understand that as well, man. And who would you say is some of your influences as far as, how you crafted your sound to what it is today?
Man, that's crazy. I grew up listening to everyone. I studied everyone, and I believed in I believed in going back and studying things that came before you and before your era. And then with me having an older brother that was about a decade older than me, he introduced me to hip hop. So I was listening to a lot of stuff that he was listening to in the 90s. And I gravitated towards it. And then, as I grew up, I stayed listening to that as well as the current things. But, every all time Michael Jackson, that's how it started. Me watching Michael Jackson, then Tupac. Um, and from there, I've listened and studied to everybody. It depends on the era. It's an era where I was listening to nothing but Pac, then nothing but
Yeah,
Nas, nothing but Jay, nothing but Ti. Like I didn't listen to everything. Everything has definitely influenced me.
man, because I hear a lot, excuse me, I hear a lot like you rap and you sing. And I always think that's a very unique skill set to have. I wish I had it for one. I can't sing worth a damn, but yeah. Um, well, like when I think of artists, that had that type of vibe, think of maybe like a Ja Rule, a Drake. Um, man, like who would you say even to some degree kind of like a genuine? I mean, I know he was more known for
Mhm.
R and being an R&B singer, but there are certain songs here he kind of spit as well. But does anybody like you would say? 'Cause you mentioned early 2000, you was also influenced by the 90s, because I could kind of hear that in your sound as well. I guess who would be some of your favorite artists?
Okay, if I had to say favorites, definitely um, Tupac, Jay-Z, Nas. This era, definitely J. Cole. You
Okay.
know, um, fan of the oldies, but favorites, if I had to pick like favorites, definitely Jay-Z, Nas, um, DMX,
Yeah,
Tupac,
yeah,
definitely. But I always was a fan of merging like the singing with the rapping. I'm still even kind of developing it now. I had to like, learn it. And it's artists like Ja Rule, Drake, who kind of showed the game and all of us that it was a path to do that. I think nowadays it's just about finding your lane to do it. Also, I know it's unpopular, but R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? R. Kelly is a big fan. I'm a big fan of R. Kelly's music. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't know nothing about him personally as a
yeah.
person, but musically, Kel is definitely one of my goats I study. Yeah, definitely,
And
especially when
even
I'm merging them,
yeah,
merging
even
sounds.
himself as well, kind of like midway through his career, I remember he kind of started spitting a little more in his
Yeah.
his records as well. So I could definitely see that as well. And now you from Detroit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was born in Detroit. Now I moved from Detroit at like 5, 6 years old, but I was still in Michigan. So I bounced around different places in Michigan, but home is definitely Detroit.
Yeah, so y'all got some things popping out there. I mean, like, Payroll Giovanni, Boldy James, to name a few, of course, Eminem still popping. Like, I guess seeing those different eras of Detroit music going all the way back from M to now, like, how has that been for you as far as being a creator? Has that also been a big influence on your sound?
Man, I'm just so happy to see the city finally getting light, man. I remember a time when I was making music where like if you wore your Detroit hat, you was almost shunned. If you let it be known you were from Detroit, you was almost shunned. So now to see the sound is so popular. And another thing, I salute to the city, I see the camaraderie. Like it's like with the Detroit Lions winning the way they are, with all the different artists and they own different paths and they own different genres and own different sounds they bring it. Everybody's a king in their own right. But right now, I see a lot of unity in the D, and that's what I'm loving. And the thing about me is, I always found it hard to find my way there because I didn't make the typical Detroit sound. Like I listened to it, but I never was able to make that Detroit sound type of music. I more so gravitated towards the Motown sound or just my own unique sound. But Then you got artists like Eminem who came with a different sound, Big Sean who came with a different sound,
Right.
and it's just to me it's just different blends, but it's all representing the D, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the unity.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a melting pot in terms of sound because you're right. Everybody kind of has their own vibe in terms of their own sound, but the city seems to fall behind it as well. And I feel like because I feel like on one hand you got some of these guys rap over these soulful beats, and you got some of these guys rap over these kind of West Coast beats out of Detroit, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just one unique blend of sounds. Now, terms of sports too, I like what y'all doing. In fact, that's exactly what you were saying about like wearing a Detroit hat. Now I'm not from Detroit, but I've been a big Pistons fan pretty much my whole life. And
Uh-huh.
in fact, I'm gonna be out there real soon, coming out to a game, and I'm gonna check it out, man. But
That's what's up.
sometimes I have my head out here in Dallas, and they look at me and they're like, what the hell? And I'm like, hey man, I ride. You see, I became a Pistons fan. I watch a lot of Kentucky basketball, and when they
Okay.
drafted Tayshaun Prince,
Okay.
they I just kind of stuck with it all them
Uh-huh.
years. And here we are 20 something years later. And yeah, man, I'm still rep the squad, through thick and thin. Look like times are getting better out there though. All
Yeah,
aspects.
the Pistons been balling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And Ivy, man, well, he took another step, but like
Yeah, he did.
Ivy took that step with him. And I
Yeah.
think, they just need a few more pieces. They might compete this year, but I think, if they could stay around 500, they may make a big trade and try to see if that can get them over the top. We'll see.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Pistons this year. They bringing out that dog in them this year.
Man, and your Lions too, man. Your
Oh,
Lions.
yeah, the Lions, man. Shout out to the Lions, man. We've been waiting for that for like 30 years. So
Man.
yeah, salute.
Well, I hope y'all do your thing in that as well, man. We'll see, man. We'll definitely see. Man. Now you had your album, The Point of No Return. I checked that
Correct.
out as well. And I like what you did there, man. One time something's real, Kings. It was a pretty dope album straight through. But
Thank
what
you.
went behind, no problem, man, no problem at all. What went behind your concept as far as creating that album?
Well, it's what it is my previous album was called Turning Point, and where I was at it in my creative journey and in my life, I was looking at these three roads. I can go straight, go right, or go left. So the point of no return, Turning Point, that was the album cover. It was me looking at these three roads, and it's like where I'm gonna go, where way I'm gonna go. So point of no return is the sequel to that. Point of no return is basically me saying I'm making my choice. I'm going this way. I'm not looking back, and I'm just gonna keep going straight in life and this creative journey. And that's why kind of on the album cover you see me walking and there's things blowing up in the back. It's all this chaos. And then about 5 years ago, I lost my dad, and I went into a very dark place. And I just removed myself away from everything and everyone, family and everything. And I was just healing. I had to take the time to heal. And a lot of things came up that I never faced. And so, point of no return is me walking out of all that darkness and saying, okay, you know,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Sometimes, first and foremost, my condolences to you.
thank you.
Same thing. And ironically, my father has the same birthday as us as well.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, no lie,
Really?
no lie.
Wow.
My pops died in 2014, though.
Oh,
Um,
condolences.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And around this time of the year, I always kind of think about him because was there up until I was what 32. So,
Hmm.
and you learn to kind of like yourself. I remember when that time came, I took a break, and it was kind of like music that got me through this healing process. And it's a continuous process. But yeah, sometimes music can be something that'll heal the soul in a
Oh
time of
yeah.
like, losing a family member as well.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Man. And another thing that I kind of noticed on your page too, you did a interview with Cynics magazine, I believe it is.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, and learned a lot about you as well. First and foremost, kind of a two-part question, but the first thing, like you're doing now and like you did then, but one of the things we talk about often here on this podcast is how important it is for music creators, whether you're artist, a producer, sound designer, to do interviews and help bring awareness around your music, your brand, whatever it is that you're trying to push. But how important do you think it is for music creators to do interviews?
Oh man, I think it's very important because a lot of times we hear the music, but we like to see the people behind the music. Like even me, like coming up, I studied everybody's interview. Like you'll learn things about people that you just don't get from the music. Like even with myself, like I love music, but it's like music is so you get like 30% of me from the music. With
Yeah,
these conversations with me and yourself, King, you get the man behind the music and really see like how's that person personality? What is their character like? Like I think it's very important to first and foremost to build awareness to what you're doing in your brand, but also to get the people to see you for
yeah.
you, minus the music. It's very important.
Yeah, same man. It's good to get the word out because you can come out with an album, you come out with a video, you can have a show on, the weekend or whatever, but unless you bring an awareness to that, you're not doing yourself any justice. On top of like, I always like to say like as a guest on other people's podcasts, I'm introducing the world to what it is that I do and vice versa, like being a podcaster as well, like having different guests on my show. I've had some guests that have been on the show more than once that, even just being on a podcast, a friend of theirs might see and connect with them. And
Mhm.
that might be not only another interview, but also an opportunity somewhere with music that can potentially take me in another place. So I think that doing interviews can help open up opportunities that you may not have had before.
That's
Now,
true.
with that, because reading that, kind of learned that you're also an entrepreneur aside from that, shoe company.
Yeah, man. In seventh grade, I used to sketch shoes in the back of the classroom, but I didn't tell nobody about it. I just keep it to myself. And it's a dream I actually forgot about, man, until about 2 years ago. I came across randomly a shoe company out in Italy, and I filled out like this application. They offered me on, man, and they gave me an opportunity to where they'll distribute the shoes. I design them, and it's a partnership. And I was like, wow, I'm still in awe about that because it's a dream I forgot about. But yes, it's the Destiny Steps collection, handcrafted in Italy. I never expected to sell a whole bunch of shoes overnight. Anything I throw myself into, I'm in it for the long haul. So we just taking it one sale at a time, constantly keep trying to promote the brand and get it out there. One sale at a time.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely awesome, man. You're like the second guest. I had another guest that had a clothing line a while back. And I just think as creators, like having multiple streams first of
Mhm.
income coming in. And then on top of that, if it's something especially that you're passionate about, like yourself, being able to sketch some of your concepts, I think that's a plus because we do, and it's kind of like you said about the podcast or doing the interviews rather, but that's another thing. It opens you up to talk about things that you may not talk about on the records. And I
Exactly.
think that people can relate to that. And you might have somebody listen, oh, he does this or he does that. I might start following him and, again, opening doors, even potentially outside of music. So
True.
you never know in that regard.
That's true.
Man, um, do I noticed you had the, some visuals on your YouTube, but like, do you have anything coming as far as any plans for music videos, even performances in Detroit?
Performances, not as of yet. To be honest with you, with performances, I'm really careful and calculated with those. To be honest, I think it's just a little bit of my PTSD to kick in with performances. I'm real careful with performances and stuff like that, especially in this business. I just experienced a lot of stuff in my journey from a teenager up until now that I'm really calculated with how I do that. But I'm I'm trying to make it to where a way where I can create a lot of virtual performances. But as far as music videos, I do have a music video coming real soon for a song called Nudies off Point of No Return.
Okay. Okay. How was overall like the music scene in Detroit?
Overall, see, that's the thing, man. I can't even say. I know I'm from there, but I can't say because I'm such an introvert, and it's like I'm so into I be away from everything, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of that, but I be so ducked off away from everything. I'm still in touch. I keep my ear to the street. I'm paying
Yeah,
attention to
yeah.
what's going on, but I'm such an introvert that I just be out the way, man. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, I kind of feel that like I'm very introverted as well. And like kind of with what you said about the performances, I'm very particular as far as the type of venues and events that I
Mhm.
choose.
Yeah.
Like if I want to go to perform, I want to go to a place that's strictly about performing. Like I'm old enough to done like the old school club scene where,
Hmm.
people fighting in the
Yep.
stands and in the crowd and things like that, man. And I can't do, that type of crowd anymore. In fact, I want to go ahead, I want to perform, I want to, maybe talk a little bit to some of the people that are there, and then I want to get out. I don't want
Exactly.
none of that stuff. And being a little older too, like I don't roll that much too, like with a click like I used
Yeah.
to years
Yeah.
ago. It's like
Yeah.
if I go somewhere, I might pull up solo and then I'm out,
Exactly.
and times change, but I'm open to some performances as well. And I know there are things that go on here in the city. I know there are things that going around. Like I'm in Dallas, but sometimes I might go to Houston
Okay.
and um wherever, but it's got to be a show really just about music. Like sometimes
Mm.
even like South by Southwest that happens in Austin because they have a lot of performances there. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't even do none of that anymore, especially if it ain't nothing that I think is beneficial or making money off it.
Exactly. I hear
Man,
you for
man.
sure.
As far as like 2024, we almost done with this year a couple of weeks from now. I know it's December 2nd, but like, um, man, what's like one thing that you're really proud of in 2024 that you accomplished?
That's a great question. I got some personal stuff, but as far as musically and to be honest, man, I'm glad that I'm still going. I've been through a whole lot, and personally and creatively, I'm just glad to still be here and to still be going after it because most people in my shoes would have quit a long time ago. And I'm just glad, man, to see another birthday and
Yeah.
to be able to drop another album to be here. I really appreciate life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Keep going because you got some really dope work, man. And I
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, no problem at all. No problem. What did you do on your birthday as well?
Man, it's like because it fell on Thanksgiving, this was my first year actually cooking a Thanksgiving dinner. Man, I
Okay.
spent the whole day in the kitchen, made all that damn food. After the damn food was done, wasn't even hungry no more. Didn't even
Okay.
eat.
Yeah.
But I
Man,
had some champagne and just kick back, man. Just kick back. Take
yeah,
it real light this year.
yeah, man. I'm glad to hear that. Same here.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, how did you celebrate yours?
I cooked a little bit. I make this down south shrimp and grits for the fam, and
Oh,
they had that with the turkey
okay,
and everything else my sister makes, and I had my nephews in town from both Kansas and Chicago,
okay,
and they were just visiting and spent the whole day with the fam, man, and it was good to relax, kind of not think about music or anything else,
exactly.
music work or nothing and got back to it the day after, but it doesn't seem, like I guess being that it's on Thanksgiving, you can't really go out or nothing, none of that. I guess you could do it the Friday or the Saturday, but
Mm-hmm.
it was still good to have all that food for Thanksgiving, and then I had some leftover on Friday, so
Exactly.
that I'm good with that. I don't need to go and party.
I feel you.
Man.
No, for real.
Man, what you got on tap as far as like any plans for 2025, musically or any other projects that you're working on?
My next project, man, it's already recorded, ready to go. I'm really excited about that one. But I'm
Okay.
trying to let Point of No Return get out there. But
Yeah, yeah.
man, I'm one of them guys that I create a lot, and for a long time I've been creating projects. I'm finally in a space where I can have fun, and I'm just about to work on singles, and I want to tap more into the melody. So I'm a student again. I'm going back studying '90s R&B. I just want to really tap into the melody more. So I'm a student all over again, and I'm just working on. I want to experiment more this year.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but
Yeah,
still
man.
keep true to what was, what's already.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I like what you're doing with Point of No Return, so I'm really, curious and thinking about what's coming next. We'll be looking forward to that, man.
Oh, appreciate it, man. I definitely do. For
Yeah,
real.
yeah, no problem, no problem. What kind of shout outs do you have? Maybe for like friends, family, supporters?
Man, I just want to support anybody that supports me. I know it's you have silent supporters, secret supporters, but then you have people that's loud about it. Yes, anyone who supports me in any way. Shout out to you for inviting me on here. Shout out to any platform I've ever been on, anybody that ever played my music, and I want to give a shout out to baby Avi, my niece. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Shout out to my family, all my family. But yeah, man. Shout out to anybody that supports Martel Smooth in the movement.
Yeah, and where can our listeners follow Martel Smooth at on socials?
Well, on Instagram, you can get me at Martel Smooth. That's MartelSmooth. That's on Instagram. And everything else connected is in that link in that bio.
Yeah, go ahead. Check out Martel Smooth, Point of No Return on all streaming platforms. And definitely was a pleasure to have Martel on the Major Music Lounge podcast. And for all the listeners that, maybe this is your first time tuning in as well, and maybe you're a music creator, you can actually follow me, hit me up on any one of my socials as well. Dee Dot underscore Major Music on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, and then on Twitter, xd.mme. And if you made it this far, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, like the video as well. This was a great conversation I had with Martel Smooth. And like I said, man, I'm gonna be tapping in Detroit soon. So, maybe we can link up while I'm down there. I'll let you know what's good, man.
Absolutely, man. We connected, man.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man, definitely. November 28 boys. Good to find another brother with November 28. Great day, by the way. Great day, by the
Yes,
way.
sir.
Man, thank y'all for tuning in to Major Music Lounge podcast. It's D Dot and Martel Smooth, and we're out.
Hey.
Soul of a man living with war wounds. Think you know what I seen, you don't have a clue. Pour out a brew for all my real ones dead and gone. expressing my thoughts as I run this song. Monotone when I speak, laid back demeanor. I'm an outcast in this world, been a beamer, been a leader, known to be a trendsetter. You can sit on the side or be a go-getter. One hitter, southpaw, watch out for the left. Never get involved if I never give my best. Feet on my desk, blowing clouds in the air. Sometimes you live right, but life still ain't fair. Never there when you struggle, see you when you win. Type fuck 'em in the text, wonder should I sin? Till the end, I'm the author writing in this book. VIP only from the outside they look.